Okay guys, so this is task 1.29. So in this task, we need to draw all of these buildings using Brother Way. That is of course using right angles, and then using trace tool to draw those other parts of the building. Okay, so let's proceed to the task. So in this task, we have to draw this top part first. Okay, since it's clear. Okay, so it's over there, and then we have to set the vector. Then we have to drag it all the way down there. Okay, so the next part of this is we have to draw this part of the building. Okay, so we have to use H, and then F, H, okay, and then delete this part, then group. Okay, and then I'll have to draw this part too, so I'm using H again, and then F, okay, so I have to group that too, and then this part we just use E. It doesn't matter if it's overlapping because this is the ground for this one. Next is this building. Okay, so this is two buildings. We have to draw this one, the tall one first. Okay, and then we have to, okay, wait. So what I did was I pressed it and Control Q so that this won't be dragged together with this one. Okay, so we use H here. Make sure that it's there on that point, and then F. Okay, so this is one building, this is one building, and this top part we have to draw that too, because that is of course another part of it. And then 4. Okay, so we have to use box here, E, and then drag down. Okay, so it's still dragging down everything. Control Q, and then drag down. And this part too. Okay, so for this part, so you see I'm not even shifting to using S. If it's possible, I never use S, and then I delete the points, the extra points, and then I could just like cut it here using F2, F tool. Okay, and then use T, and then I cut. And then with that, I select this, Control Q, make sure that it's not going to drag everything else, and then I'm gonna drag it over to the bottom part. Okay, so that's it. And then I just select this one and then group. Okay, so that's it. And then on this part, this is actually two buildings, so we have to draw it as a whole and then cut because it's on the same height. Okay, and then we could like cut it here, Control Q. Just one will do, will be okay because it's they share a wall. Then you drag it all the way to the bottom part. Okay, and then don't forget to draw this one. Okay, the top part using E, and then you group that for this too. So these top parts are actually kind of visible, so you have to draw those. Then these two, E. Okay, so you use E, and Control Q, and then you select that one, and then you drag, and then after that, you do that top part, and then you group. Then the next part would be this. You use E here. So this is the base. You could actually see the building going all the way into the base. So we could just like use E there up to that part. Okay, so it's not gonna overlap. Okay, so basically this is the task 1.29. So remember, when you're having problem with dragging stuff, just select that part and then use Control Q. Okay, but if it's working in the system, sometimes it's gonna follow you without dragging the rest of the task. Okay, so that is task 1.29. This is task 120. So in this task, we have a cavity in the middle of the task. So this is a good example of it. So we have cavity and then we have 3D all in all. So we are gonna use brother technique to draw this task. Okay, so first we're gonna start with top part. Uh, the top part of the building, and then we're gonna go to the lower part. Okay, so this lower part of it. Okay, so let's proceed. Let's go back to the original task. Okay, so in this task we're gonna draw the top part first. Okay, so that will be the top part. So what would I do? What I would do is I'm gonna draw the cavity now. So in drawing the cavity, we have to use erase tool, which is C. Okay, so we draw that. Okay, and then we use space. Okay, so now this is a cavity. Okay, so this is the top part. So what we would do is we drag it down. So but before that, we have to set the vector going downward. Okay, so we have to set the vector. So we're gonna drag it all the way down. So I'm basing here. Okay, I'm basing here. It's okay because we're gonna cover it later. So the next part of that is we're gonna use the H. We're gonna draw this part outside here, so it's quite easier to draw it actually, because we're gonna use H tool, and then we shift to S. Also, these are a few of the buildings that doesn't really need right angle, because it's not a standard kind of building, so you really don't need right angle tool. So H again. Okay, let me just adjust that. And then space. Okay, so that is how you draw this building. So that would be the look of the building. So this is the top part, and then this is the lower part, but you have to group that building because it's one building. So if you select that, that's it. Okay, so that is how you draw task 120. Okay, so task 120. Okay, this is task 152. So on this task, there's a lot of things that's happening. We have tall buildings that needs to be 3D using brother technique. we have to do a lot of freestyle drawing or draw tool. Of course, we have the right angle tools with it, and then we have to use the trace tool, and then some groupings, of course. So on this task, you will be tested using the brother technique, and how well will you do with it. Okay, so let's get into the task. Okay, so this is the task. So what we need to do first is this big one, or this big one, that depends on you. So I would suggest starting with tall buildings, because it has more height. Okay, so I would start here, and then I would set the vector, and then I would go all the way down. Okay, so I would base here, I'm basing there, and then I use X here, and Z. I would shift from X to Z. Okay, so this is the first building that I've drawn here, and then next to the after the next building, I'll use H. Okay, so I will use H there, and then H. I've been shifting from H to F. Okay, so now that's it, and then I will draw this part here. So what would I do is I'm gonna combine this one, so it's gonna make one big of that, and then I could probably like cut it or something, and then merge this one. Okay, that's it. So the next part of it is this part. Okay, so what I'm going to do is draw this one, and then this part seems to be the lower part. Okay, so I'm gonna draw this one. Actually, it's lower than this part, so back that off, and then here. Okay, so after that, I should probably just leave it there. I'm gonna draw this one, I'm gonna draw this part, and then connect this part, connect these two, and then finally draw this one. Okay, so so that's the big part. And then since if I'm gonna drag this, it's gonna drag everything together with it. So what I will do is select and then Control Q, and then drag it down. Okay, so it will drag down perfectly now. Okay, so after that, I'm gonna connect this to this using repair tool U. So since it's repair, it has to be quite near the U, so it will show the like the okay. Okay, so that's gonna be it. Okay, something like that. So this part, and then I'm only missing this part, so I'm gonna draw that using H. Since it was drawn using brother technique, so there is a clear guide there, and then H, and then there goes. Okay, so this is it. Taller, and then the shortest one, and then the higher part, and then finally this one using S tool. Okay, okay. So this is scenery 4. This is scenery 4. Okay. So now this for this building, it's actually not a right angled building, so it's gonna be quite hard to draw that. Wait. Once again, if it drags, Control Q and then you select it. And then I'm gonna draw this part right here. Don't worry about the slanting part, because that's the design of the building. So we're gonna draw this part right here using H. Okay, so once we draw using H, we're gonna shift it to, okay, it's probably lower. Okay, F. Okay, so that's how the building would look like. Okay, and then so this is it. We're missing one part here. Using H tool again, and then you'll see the guide. H. Okay, H before closing it, and then you get it, and then another H, and then I'm shifting to F, and then another H, and then closing it. So this is it. And then finally this part right here. Okay, and then you could like cut it here. Oh, and then drag. Okay, so it's not dragging by itself. Control Q again, and then drag it together with all of his brother. Okay, that's it. So if something drags, when you drag something, just Control Q, and then it will let go of the other relation to other buildings. Okay, so basically that's it. That's how you draw using brother technique. Remember, Control Q is very important. Placing the H on the right level is very important. So that is task 1.52.